Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between the new and improved Kislev and Norsca here on Oakenshield. So it's going to be myself with Mother Ostankya facing off against Professor Pone, who's going to be coming in with Wolfric. Should be quite a bit of fun. And yes, we did bring the big beast, the Elemental Incarnate. Now, as far as the build goes, the main core is going to be Armored Kossars. They are incredibly cost-effective against Norsca for a couple reasons. Oftentimes, Norsca isn't going to have the best armor piercing in the front line, so their 80 armor is extremely significant. Their good stats at 37 and 41 make them trade pretty well into most Marauders, Berserkers, and Champion units. And lastly, their pistols are just excellent against the light armor of Norsca. If there's some Skin Wolves, with the Ice Trolls, any of those type of units, they're going to be able to whip out their pistols and put some fat hurt on them. But you guys aren't here for the Armored Kossars. You know how good they are. Here is Mother Ostankya. So she has a couple of the things in the woods pulling her sled here, which is awesome. She has her very own Cauldron of Souls. So the shooting ability on this is basically the same as the Casket of Souls, but she can shoot while moving and has 360 shooting. It looks like she just drops a rat in there. Very lovely stuff. But basically, you can just kind of ride around your opponent's front line. If they don't have shooting, and just drop great damage on them. A little bit hard to target with it, but even still, it's very, very good. She's a little bit vulnerable to cannons, however, and she does have light armor. So at 40 armor, if she gets caught by a ton of missile fire, fireball spells, cannons, she can go down pretty quickly. So certainly tread with caution in those type of matchups. But against Norsca, they're mostly cavemen. They don't have cannons, so we're fine. So she's got a couple cool spells. Flock of Doom and Enfeebling Foe, I would say the best of her mixed lore magic. On top of that, she does have a Spirit Bear, which is an activated magic missile ability. You just throw this into infantry blobs and it does relatively decent damage. And also she has Gulyas, and this is AoE healing ability. It's not like a ton of healing, but it does restore vigor as well. And stacking it with the Patriarch is quite good. So now we're here for the big man in the DLC, the Incarnate Elemental Beast. This thing is amazing. It's pretty fast at 60 speed, a very, very good leadership, as you can see. 650 with an anti-large bonus of 35. So this guy can go fisticuffs with the best of them. I've done a little bit of testing of him versus like the Gorgon, and he usually trades pretty evenly, but the advantage that this guy has, of course, he's got physical resist, but more importantly, the Incarnate Flock of Doom. So he has a Mortis Engine effect, and CA loves their Mortis Engines. We got one here on a Kislev, Tzeentch got one. Let's give it to everybody. Let's just party. But the Incarnate Flock of Doom does 8 to 16 damage to all nearby units, like infantry and stuff, right? So it's the same damage profile as the Fey Enchantress' Miss of the Lady. Yeah, he's a really, really good unit. We do also have a Patriarch as well. Patriarch is there to heal the Incarnate, just kind of follow it around. I have Bear Riders, and also, Mother Ostankya could get in trouble, and having a little bit of extra healing there would be welcome. For Professor Pone's forces, it is going to be Wolfric the Wanderer with Seafang to clear out my armored troops. Shaman Sorcerer of Fire, which I didn't understand at first. I was chatting with him during the game, and I was like, why did he bring a Shaman? Like, Lore of Fire typically hasn't been used against Kislev because it's not the best against armor, but I think he was kind of scheming that I would bring Mother Ostankya, and he brought Fireball. So Fireball is going to be pretty good against her. She's a chariot, so it's pretty much always going to hit, and she has light armor, so it's going to be a useful tool for sniping my Lord. Marauder Champions and Javelins in the back row, ladies and gentlemen, and that is going to be it as these two very burly northern armies get ready to collide. The Kislevites and the Norskins pretty similar in terms of size. So here's Mother Stank's shots right here, so they're going to be going down, and not bad at all. It's 360 shooting, so you can kind of just like trundle around and ride and shoot. She's just like cackling like an evil witch the entire time. It is just so righteous and so much fun. So Javelin Fire and Throwing Axe is still trying to screen me out. Fireball did some pretty consistent damage against Mother Stank as she pulls back here. And now the Kislevites going to be moving forward. And the Elemental Wrath, I really got to be careful. It does die pretty quickly to Javelin Fire. Like all these Marauder Hunter Javelins can definitely melt it. As far as reserves go, we do call in the Zargard here, and Mother Stank dropping another shot onto the Marauders, doing pretty good consistent damage across the front line. A little bit of Javelin poke on the other side, or I should say Throwing Axe poke, but our pistol boys do return fire, and this is one of the reasons Kossars are so good. They can fend off skirmishers, they can hold their own in melee. It's really, really nice. So Mother Stank's going to be getting into melee. You can see the Flock of Doom ability going down from the Elemental, and Mother Ostankya riding through and having some pretty sweet animations. Oh, that looks so cool. I think she's like just my favorite in the DLC. It's the Slavic folklore is just so fun. So she gets in there, shuts down the Marauder Hunter Javelins, but a nice fireball from Professor Pone is going to do some good damage. So he's a little bit ahead on me in terms of value. But again, I am Kislev. I do have a fair amount of healing, which is going to be nice. And we are going to be calling in another new unit here, which is going to be the Things in the Woods. Now, these guys are pretty great. Like, if your opponent's expecting heavy war sleds, this is like a cheaper alternative you can go for. It kind of fulfills the same role as a heavy war sled, anti-infantry, armor piercing, but it's got a serious bonus for infantry of 16. Just think of them as like Skin Wolves that are designed to take infantry instead of anti-large. So I like them as an alternative to sleds. You could mix them in. What I find about these guys is you don't need to be moving around as much as you do with sleds. You just kind of stack them on top of your tanky infantry and they can slap things pretty well. Now, nice gooning attempt here for Professor Pone. Wulfric the Wanderer going to be moving in and going after Mother Ostankya. And Hunter of Champions puts her down to 10 armor, but the Elemental, yes, the Incarnate, going to be coming in and slapping Wulfric, protecting Big Mama there. And certainly doing a pretty good job as the Patriarch gets in there as well. And that's the healing mushroom ability. So you can see it's Gulyas. So it's going to be healing up the Incarnate as well as Mother Ostankya. She does pull back. But that Javelin Fire does nasty damage. You can see the Beast can go down. And of course doesn't have any self-healing like a Gorgon, even though Gorgons do a little bit less damage. Nice Sea Fang right there. That was a beautiful one going right down the pipe. Nailing my Armored Kossars. On this side, let's get a look at the things in the woods fighting. So they move into combat, going to be tearing through these different Marauders and looking really, really cool while they do it. The aesthetic of this DLC really reminds me of the movie The Ritual, the one where it has that like ancient kind of forest spirit. It's really rad. Now on the far side of the map on Objective 3, I just get some classic Costified Dervishes to move up, but this is where we kind of laid a trap. I was like, okay, he's probably going to send some infantry to push me off, but we pull in some new units, the Akshina Ambushers, and these guys are basically just Kislevite Shades. They're not quite as nasty in melee combat, but they're cheaper. They have Vanguard deployment, and of course they have the benefit of being Kislevites, which makes them unbreakable when they start to get damaged. And they have armor piercing in melee and ranged. Going to be a new staple against dwarves for sure. Now back on the main part of the map, the value lead is favoring Professor Pone, but I have gotten some pretty nasty healing. Here the Chad Zargard holding it down despite getting blasted by a lot of throwing axes. Their silver shields are going to be able to mitigate a lot of that damage, and they push back the Marauders. Here, it looks like it's going okay. The things in the woods helping to clear out Marauder champions, and normally I probably wouldn't be able to clear them out effectively. And even though the things in the woods did break, they still were able to support the Armored Kossars and do a nice job there. As Mother Ostankya has been healed up pretty heavily. Another Fireball coming in from Professor Pone, and it looks like it's going to be a hit. Another 400 damage there on Big Mama, and she's going to be kind of Tokyo drifting away. Now here on this side, Costified Dervishes and the Elemental Beast is moving in. I don't see too many reasons why you would ever take an Elemental Bear when this thing exists. Like, yes, it does not do the best at killing infantry units, but the fact that it has a Mortis engine kind of makes up for that. And it just looks so cool. I mean, God, look at that thing. It's just it's a beauty right there. Nice charge here. Beast of Tashnar moving in, but the Akshina Ambushers are no slouches, and they're going to be getting Patriarch support. So these Bear Hunter guys looking pretty rad. Certainly doing it up for Urson. Going to be fighting back against the Beast of Tashnar and holding their own as the Incarnate of Elemental Beast does peel back, applying a little bit of overtime damage and also going after Wulfric. Wulfric is on horse, which makes him a large entity. Therefore, the Incarnate of Elemental Beast basically going to be going balls deep and doing some good damage. On the other side of the battlefield, the Kossars do endure. Things in the woods moving back in to help out a little bit. And here, the Armored Kossars going to be battling the Marauder Champions, which Champions, of course, win that fight, but Kossars will hold for a long time, doing Urson proud. And using the things in the woods to just kind of jump around with their 70 movement speed, they're able to hunt pretty effectively and just chase down these various Norskins and, show them the true meaning of Unga Bunga. So here they go. Nice slaps going down, and those Javelins certainly not going to be enjoying their life. On this side, Wulfric going to be getting chased down by Mother Stank as well as the Patriarch on the Bear. He does get broken, and Enfeebling Foes activated from Mother Ostankya. And the Incarnate of Elemental Beast basically just juking the throwing axes here, trying not to go down, buying time for the Skirmishers to come out, while my own archers, the Akshina Ambushers, are able to put a little bit of returning firepower. At 150 range, it's kind of interesting. Kislev got a couple units which in some way are a bit redundant, like Streltsy versus, or not redundant, but they do something similar, right? Like Streltsy and Akshina are both armor-piercing range units. Things in the Woods and War Sleds are both anti-infantry, but they have enough like nuances about them that make them unique, like having the Vanguard, having the Things in the Woods be like kind of better to blend in with infantry units. It's a pretty nice little composition. So this is ideal here. We're going to get the Atomic Slap coming down from the Elemental Incarnate. Manticore is going to get slapped into the Shadow Realm as we do get the Patriarch providing passive healing. So you can see this thing's approaching its healing cap. And that's the thing that a lot of people forget about Kislev really, is just how insane their healing is. It's really, really off the chain. Things in the Woods moving in. Mother Ostankya charging, getting a little bit crunk here. She decides to move in there, but retreats as soon as she does start to duel the duelist Wulfric. Wulfric is actually pretty well designed to take her out if you can catch her. But here, Wulfric is going to be taking some damage. A nice fireball from my opponent, but the Incarnate of Elemental Beast is on its way in. More ambushers coming from the other side of the map, out of the Vanguard point. And Objective 3 is controlled, Objective 2 is looking to be controlled, and Objective 1 is controlled by us as well. Flock of Jinn from Mother Ostankya, a little bit of AoE damage as well. Wulfric's going to be on the run, and when the big beast gets there, he's certainly not going to want to stick around to find out what this thing has in store for him. So Flock of Doom doing sweet work. Norsca going to be moving in with some Marauders, but they're really, really on the back foot at this point. We got a triple cap, and though the value appears to be close, it really isn't. You can see several of my big centerpieces have been healed just for a metric ton of health. And, there's a little bit of Skinwolf action coming in. Armored Skinwolves are a good choice here because of the Winged Lancers and Dervishes and different things like that, but the Incarnate of Elemental Beast should be able to put some hurt on them. But even still, it's I think more Skin Wolves would have been certainly very, very good here. But yeah, you can see they're getting torn up. The Patriarch healing is just nasty. Other Ostankya providing those constant enfeebling foes is quite good as well. On the other side, we do see Norsca Ice Wolves moving over to try and press down my Winged Lancers and Kosovoite Dervishes that have come in here, but it's not going to save them. And Wulfric is really, really close to just being slapped into another dimension. Yeah, he's at 300 HP. He is not going to be coming back. Most likely will be running off the edge of the map. Big Stank dropping some shots here on the Marauders as more Marauders are moving to the side objective, but Armored Kossars and things in the woods should be able to kind of hold them at bay. Right here, we see the Norscan Ice Wolves trying to press the side objective, but they're intercepted very happily by Winged Lancers, which again are still a really great unit. And honestly, guys, I think Kislev is going to be an absolute powerhouse of a faction. If you didn't notice at the end of last season, in old Total Tavern stats, Kislev had taken over the number 3 spot by the end of the season. People are really figuring out the strength of their armored infantry pushes and their skirmish cav. And yeah, they had a couple bad matchups, sure, but generally speaking, we're rapidly emerging as a powerhouse faction. And I can assure you that when this DLC drops and Kislev is kind of released into the tournament scene, they're going to be really, really good. Obviously, they have a new great anti-large monster. Things in the woods are good. Mother Ostankya is nice. And they also have access to a hag character now. So they have a hag hero caster, which means you don't have to bring, Lore of Ice or Lore of Tempest. You have these different hags who have access to Lore of Death, which is just nuts. So you could go for like a Coast Alton pick and then just bring a hag caster to, bring Lore of Death, which is crazy good. This is basically going to be the closing out of the game. Let's give you a nice cinematic shot of the Elemental Incarnate. Oh, look at the glowing, like, the ebb and glow off him. Oh, that is such a cool look as he just punishes the Manticore. And Kislev endures. Mother Ostankya getting it done. Yeah, guys, I'm telling you, Kislev's going to be a raid boss of a faction. Like, nothing on Kislev that they got, I don't think. In land battle, maybe the Elemental Beast might be pretty crazy because of its Mortis Engine, but Mortis Engines aren't as strong in domination mode. They're still very good in top tier. But they're not like oppressive like they are in land battles where, they can just kind of sit in a defensive formation and force you to attack them. 2,300 on Mother Stank. Here we got 2,100 here. Ambushers did okay. They came in and Things in the Woods, 900 value. And one of them kind of got shut down, but 900 is not bad. They only cost 7, so really, really not bad. And I'm really excited to kind of dig my teeth into Kislev and kind of see how they play in competitive. But I'm sure a lot of people will. I think they're going to be a very, very standard kind of common pick. But the same could be said for Tzeentch. And honestly, and maybe I'll do another video about this, but I won't go into it too much, but I kind of felt like looking at Cathay's stuff that they made out the worst of the bunch, which I still think, but man, Cathay is actually a lot stronger. The Crowmen are super useful. I mean, high speed, really good at kind of clearing positions, and defending your back line actually is something that's really nice about them. And Yuan Bo he's a beast. His execution ability, you'll be seeing it in a replay. It may have already been up, maybe it's after this, but yeah, nonetheless. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. So we'll see you on the other side. Well played to my opponent here, and that is going to be it for today.